Welcome back, Eternal Dragon here with my latest build, and we're calling this one the Cursed Stormcaster. Why are we calling it the Cursed Stormcaster? Well, let's take a look. First of all, we are running with a Fear Not for our main gun. I know, it's a pixie gun, but here's the thing, it's not really so much about the pixies with this build. Now, are they good? Yes, of course they are. Pixies are phenomenal, but you'll take a look over here. We actually have quite a few different Fear Nots for you to choose from, because you actually get a lot more of a bonus with this build from shooting your Fear Not than you do with many other builds. Now, so of course, using a pixie style one is fantastic. It's probably the top end of what you really can do with stuff, but if you want to do something other than pixie guns, we have all sorts of other stuff. We've got double Hydra guy here. We've got, well, that's a standard pixie one too, sorry, but you know, multi-headed Hydra. This one's the lightning bolt Hydra. We have lightning bolt chains here. So I farmed up a whole bunch of cool different guns for you to try out. Daggerstone one is really fun, by the way, just if you don't want to be doing the pixie thing here. So otherwise on the build, we have a Gluttony. Now this is just a fantastic gun in general. We all love the Gluttony, but we do mainly actually use this one to shoot up the sigils. So when you're going through the Chaos Chambers and you are looking to go and fight a raid boss, this is kind of the one that you want to be using to shoot at the sigils. Here we have a Donkey and a Shadowfire. These are both other really fun guns for the build too. This one for more so for tossing, this one definitely for shooting. We are using an Ascended Mage Staff. This way we can get the bonus spell damage on our attacks. You see your melee attacks create up to 3 fissures that seek out nearby enemies, dealing up to 110% weapon damage as spell damage. Damage is of course split between all the fissures, and Archmage on there to help get the spell cooldown back a little bit faster. Well, we are a Cursed Stormcaster, so of course we are using a Cursed Malice. Curse of Malice of Giants at 975 times 7. You can get more projectiles on this, but the damage goes down a little bit, so it's really up to you if you like more projectiles or less projectiles, higher or lower damage. What this does is it MIRVs. It opens a small portal, and then it fires out a group of crossbow bolts, all with TNT on them, then drops out one piece of TNT right in the center. That TNT explodes, sets off all the TNT around, which then leaves even more TNT, and it explodes again. All for dark damage. Super fun new spell. For our rings, we have 1 Daemon Blight, increasing our status effect damage as much as we can, while also still rocking this amazing spell damage ring with spell critical hit, spell critical chance, and action skill cooldown rate, which will definitely help for our storm. For shield, we're rocking the Ancient Deity. We have a poison one here. It is giving us 10% bonus to our poison damage, as we are doing a lot of poison damage with this build. And also our skills will be doing a lot of poison damage as well. We'll show that off in a second. Now, the amulet, you could get something else here, but I really do like the Overflowing Blood Bag in general. I know it doesn't have a great interaction with some of the skills on the build, but if you choose to do just dark magic stuff instead of anything that is increasing your shields with dark magic, you'll find that this is probably one of the best amulets you could possibly come across, and it's still absolutely fantastic for what we're doing right now. There it is. It's a Mosquito's Mantle. It's helping us do a crazy amount of damage with that 30% chance on crit to apply an extra crossbolt to the target. That crossbolt is getting your entire damage formula again. It is just way too overpowered, but super duper fun to use. If you haven't tried a Mosquito's Mantle yet, definitely you've got to try it out now. And you'll see that this one is in fact a Blightcaller Spellshot. So we found one with great synergy for what we're doing with gun damage, companion crit chance, and spell critical hit chance. So we have a very high spell critical hit chance with this character. Our enchants are synergizing with action skill start damage 2020 here. Over here, spell damage increased 40% with action skill start. We're going on spellcast ability damage 30% increase here. And our on spellcast increased damage by 15% here. So overall, just a great overall synergy to increase all of our different types of damage. pump up ability damage even more and spell damage even further. Over on these pieces of the gear, you can see we also have elemental damage. Got another damage 20 here, and elemental damage 20 here. You could change these if you wanted to, but these are also pretty good for the build. And for what we're doing, with the way that these are on the dark magic, you will actually find that that can help you get a lot more shields or a lot more life back, depending on how you want to run the build. Now, I've also, just over here to go through it quick, thrown on some Merlin's Razors, they're super duper fun weapons, and some sword explosions that I found just for fun. They don't really fit the build, but they will be on the save for you to mess around with. A couple high-level banshees. We got some other amulets for you to mess with, and a whole bunch of Blightcaller Spellshot armors so that you can mess around with it in any way that you kind of want to try it all out. A few extra rings as well over here in the skills. Let's take a look. We are focusing on the Plague Storm because we are a Cursed Storm caster. Now, the Storm, when you take a look at it, this thing is going to be, whenever you deal non-ability damage, a percentage of it, tripped on my tongue there, is stored while this action skill is active. That is really good because it is periodically creating elemental bolts, but those are random bolts dealing ability damage of elemental damage types. You see it all listed there. It's everything we boosted on the last page. But it's that random that really, really matters because we are going to be using Bogged Down, but we are not using any shock or frost weapons primarily, but it really doesn't matter because the huge hits that come off Plague Storm can definitely get amplified by this, and our dark magic and our poison certainly don't get debuffed by the fact that we are using Bogged Down. As well, a lot of the time when you're playing with friends, they really like it when you use Bogged Down. So running all the way through the skills, we've got the rest of our spell crit here, so we're pretty much at 100%. In fact, take a quick look, I'm pretty sure we are. Well, that's bizarre, because we've got it higher on the ring stuff. Well, this is just a bugged menu. What can you do? So, 3 out of 3 into magic bullets, a little bit extra reload speed, our extra crit here, of course extra spell cooldown rate and action skill cooldown rate here. You want to get that as fast as possible. Extra fire rate because it's really, really good in this game to shoot faster. Glass cannon increasing your spell damage 30%, and now our shields don't regen anymore, but that's okay. We're going to take care of that over in the Blightcaller tree. And high thread count to increase our spell weaving stacks. Spell weaving stacks, of course, combining with magic bullets, we will be increasing our damage overall quite a bit, especially with glass cannon in the mix. Now, over on this side, we've got 7 out of 5 for Geist in the Shell. This is one of my favorite new abilities for the Blightcaller. Really reminds me of the Soul Render from Borderlands 3. Super duper fun to use this skill, and it does a crazy amount of damage as long as you're getting your critical hits. A little bit of Virulence, we want to make sure we're getting our status effect to happen. And then we're going 3 out of 3 over here in Wraith Mail so that we're getting 21% of our ward back every single time we get an enemy kill. Pumping as much as we can into damage, we've got Flawless Edge here. Damage dealt 30% extra when your ward is full, that's global damage. And here's our additional poison damage here, 20% overall. Bogged Down, of course, creating the soaked status effect for you so that all lightning and frost damage deals 50% more damage. Of course, your fire will deal minus 50%, so don't use fire if you're using this ability. Worse, Curse, I love this ability. Whenever you deal dark magic damage as a status effect, our spell and ability damage is increased for a great duration. And with this spell, you are getting a huge amount of chances to proc DOTs. So you can basically fill this up to 3 out of 3 in one cast with our Curse, which is pretty friggin' awesome for increasing your damage overall with the additional explosions from the same spell. 1 out of 3 here. This is actually coming off of the armor. So, we're not actually trying to proc this, but it's not a bad skill to have. 3 out of 3 in Toxicity. Whenever we're triggering the poison status effect, we're going to get that from our gun and from Geist in the Shell. You'll see that we increase our critical hit damage, companion damage, and action skill cooldown rate, and of course our little pixies are companion buddies. So the pixie gun does get a little boost there. Restore the Veil here. Whenever we're dealing dark magic, we now restore ward instead of health. You do not have to take this, but you can if you want to be pumping up your shields more than your life. If you don't take this, you will find that you generate yourself quite a lot of life with this build. And then finally here, Spirit Swarm, giving ourselves a little companion buddy, which is also getting a lot of damage here from toxicity. And then this guy flies around applying status effects, and every time you apply a status effect that's stronger than your last one, this guy gets refreshed and gets stronger than before. You can do an insane amount of damage with this thing, especially using the Plague Storm, even though this cannot actually apply status effects. A lot of the time, if it hits water or if it hits a barrel or something, you know, you can actually get status effects out of it. Not directly from the Plague Storm, but still as a result of the Plague Storm. And it's doing elemental damage all over the place. Oh, I'm sorry. We also want to take a quick look here at our hero points. We've gone 44 to 44 here for crit damage. And we actually took the archetype Cunning for this one. I had a lot of fun with choosing a new archetype. And yeah, so we have the boost here. And we have the boost here for intelligence, but a minus to con. So a little bit into attunement, all the way up here for 68% additional status effect damage, all the way up here for 42.5% crit damage, a little bit here to increase your crit chance just for those Geist in the Shells. And then finally the myth rank, we are floating at 854. So that is the build, folks. I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, help me get up to 1,000 followers here on this channel, help me beat that algorithm. And you know, everything else, like always, save file over on the Discord. Feel free to go grab it. I, of course, play live over on Twitch. Please come hang out with me. Until we see you next time, friends, happy gaming.